Welcome to Judge of Ghana TV. Akwa Baba, Judge of Ghana TV. So,
as you know, and then the last day, and then the day for judgment. And hereby, court to try argument. Court, as much as we disagree, that is the judgment of the court. And we will advise our clients accordingly.
But it's also part of release and now because our clients.
No, it wasn't before the court. Okay. And it wasn't before the court. But court now you know some. But essentially, what she said is so many now. Akosua Serwaa approach our dear no into and of the cancer certificate once a month. That is the decision of the court.
in this episode of Judge of Ghana TV, I'd like to talk about the Akosua Fosu versus Ebusia Penyi, Odo Broni, Priscilla, Ofori, and co. The judgment has been given, and clearly the judge was decided to not take sides, and to me, it was a bit of a cop-out as far as I'm concerned, because I don't understand how a judge can say that the documents submitted by Akosua Serwaa Fosu, where she couldn't authenticate the documents submitted by Akosua Serwaa Fosu. How? She even, from my understanding, they included a letter from the German embassy that stated clearly that the civil marriage between Akosua Serwaa Fosu and Charles Kwadwo Fosu, aka Daddy Lumba, happened. The ordinance marriage happened. And still, the judge said that she wasn't satisfied about the authenticity of the marriage certificate. I mean, let it make sense to me. The reason why I'm concerned about this particular judgment is because we all know that Charles Kwadwo Fosu, aka Daddy Lumba, is a German citizen. So he gave up his Ghanaian citizenship and acquired German citizenship through his marriage. After his marriage to Akosua Serwaa, he gained his German citizenship. It was because of that union, that's ordinance marriage between Charles Kwadwo Fosu and Akosua Serwaa Fosu, that allowed him and permitted him to acquire his German citizenship, because it's the wife that had the citizenship, and because of the marriage, he could also later on become a citizen of Germany. And this judge on this case says she's not satisfied that the ordinance marriage certificate is authentic. Hey. What kind of country do we live in? Germany is not like Ghana, where you can just go out and get fake documents. It takes a lot because they are very stringent over there. So when somebody submits documents and says they are married, those documents are true. They are married, indeed. So basically, it looks like the judge reduced Akosua Serwaa Fosuh from ordinance marriage status to Efiawari, common law wife, traditional marriage engagement level. Efiawari. That's what she reduced her to. That's why she could give a verdict of both of them are the wives of Daddy Lumba. If you've got an ordinance marriage certificate, you can suddenly be reduced to Efiawari. Hey, how about people who have married ordinance way and don't have any Efiawari? How can you reduce them to Efiawari? Hey. So she reduced the Akosua Serwaa Fosuh to traditional wife, so that she can say that Charles Kwadwo Fosu is survived by 2 wives, because she basically negated, the judge on the case basically negated the ordinance marriage certificate of Akosua Serwaa Fosuh. Kindly go to www.kofi.com/cultural. Download these 2 free ebooks. The first ebook is on 365 days of leadership daily devotional, and the other book is on corruption in the 54 countries of Africa. But what has happened in Ghana here has far-reaching effects on Akosua Serwaa Fosuh. Because, how do you negate an ordinance marriage when you are negating it from a different country, not the current country where they were married? How do you negate it? If you feel that you are not satisfied with the document, shouldn't you have requested as a judge that they furnish you with better particulars? And who says that everybody has got their original marriage certificates? That's another thing. People lose their marriage certificates all the time, especially when they're married for a very long time. Sometimes fires can happen, the certificate can be damaged, sometimes it can be stolen, sometimes it can be destroyed by water, disaster, So there are many ways people lose the original marriage certificate. So if, as a judge, your request was for the original marriage certificate and they brought you an extract, what's wrong with an extract? Is the extract not authentic? And the letter from the German embassy supporting the extract, is that not enough? You see, when you want to wiggle your way out of a judgment, this is what people do. This is what people do. But thanks be to God, she said that he has 2 wives. How is it possible? When we all know that ordinance marriage says that you can only be married to one person at a time. And if you want to be rid of that person because you're not happy with the relationship, you need to go to a courthouse and in the country of the marriage and dissolve it. And if you fail to dissolve it, after your demise, your death, you are still married to that person. How do you, as a judge, take away ordinance marriage? Especially in a country like Germany. Germany is not like Ghana, where you can fiddle documents. If they weren't truly married, the German embassy would not have written that supporting letter to the judge. And the judge knows it. And in countries like in Europe, like Germany, copies of marriage certificates are public records. Anybody can apply for it. So even if you lose your marriage certificate, you can apply for a copy. They will send it to you. So I'm surprised that a judge can reduce somebody who was married in Germany to from ordinance to traditional wife and say that Daddy Lumba, Charles Kwadwo Fosu, had 2 wives at the time of his demise. Wow. That's a first in Ghana. Ghana is a very interesting place. Hey. They can divorce you and make you a traditional wife only after the person's demise, even though you have a marriage certificate. And nobody can produce a divorce certificate. Wow. 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 These are some of the reasons why many people say, in Ghana here, the law doesn't work. The law no they work. In Juma or Ghana. These are the type of judgments that make people say these type of things. It is shocking to say the least. Today is one of the saddest days in terms of legal rulings concerning these type of marriage issues. It just tells you in Ghana, it's even a waste of time to go to court if God is not with you. How? Sometimes I just think that the approach that Akosua Serwaa took is also another issue. Because she should never have even involved Odo Broni in the case in the first place. She should have just made it strictly her and the Ebusiapen, and just left Odo Broni out of the case because she's a non-entity. When you have the marriage certificate, Odo Broni is a non-entity. Whatever she did with Daddy Lumba is null and void. She shouldn't have even involved there. And this is what confused the whole matter. And they tried to find an angle, wedge a way in. And look, this is not right. Because in Germany, how can you go and tell the German authorities that Daddy Lumba was married to 2 wives at his demise? Will this stand in Germany? This will not stand. This judgment in Ghana will not stand in Germany. I would like you to help us grow this channel by liking, sharing, subscribe, and press that notification bell so that we can notify you of new content. And Daddy Lumba has properties in Germany with his wife, Akosua Serwaa Fosuh. And if you go to Germany and say that I got a judgment in Ghana saying that my husband had 2 wives, when they know that they've been married by the ordinance route in Germany. This case will be rubbished. Ghana, you go animals you. We have disgraced ourselves today in terms of international law status. The Western world will not regard us anymore, because how can you give a judgment like this? Somebody who's got an ordinance certificate, marriage certificate, ordinance marriage certificate. The judge says that she didn't prove. While the German authorities know that, because they have the records, that Akosua Serwaa Fosu and Daddy Lumba were married the ordinance route in Germany, and you expect that to stand. Look, let me tell you something. If you live in Europe or America, sometimes when you're filling forms for certain services, government services, they ask you, are you divorced? Are you married? They ask you these things. That is why it's important that the law backs you and says that you are the legal wife if you have married the ordinance route. Because how are you going to fill the forms? Even sometimes, because of your children, you have to fill the forms on their behalf. And they ask you, are you a divorcee? Are you married? What is Akosua Serwaa going to say if there's a form she has to fill that Daddy Lumba had 2 wives? When that is a non-starter, because you cannot have 2 wives if you're married under ordinance. This is the most question mark of a judgment that I've seen when it comes to these marriage issues. But hey, this is Ghana for you. So let's leave it at that. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this type of content, I'd like to like, share, subscribe. And I'd like to say, Ghana first, always. Bye for now. See you in the next episode. Bye.